Alright guys, today what I want you to work on, it's going to be a bigger project with two parts to it. Just first grab a piece of scrap paper. This is a printer paper that I was doing some charts on, and I'm just going to use the back of it, okay? You need a pencil. You need a can of anything. So I'm sure we all have some canned goods right now. Pick out whatever your favorite one is, ask your parents' permission, and we're going to use that. You don't have to rip off the cover. In fact, you go ahead and leave yours on. This was a can of beans that I think either we'll cook it today or it'll be a surprise dinner in about 2 months when we don't remember what it is. Also, grab some crayons for this one if you have them, or whatever you like to color with. And we're going to begin. Now the first thing I want to talk about is that this project is inspired by Andy Warhol and his Campbell's soup can prints. Andy Warhol was an artist who was really popular back in the 60s, 70s, and even up until today. But he was a commercial illustrator. And he became a successful author, publisher, painter, film director, and all sorts of other really cool stuff. And a pop icon, too. We'll do a little bit more history about his work in a little while, but what we're going to see first is how to draw a can. Now, a can is another 3D form that is known as a cylinder. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to take a ruler. Now, this is a handmade ruler I made in another video. So if you guys don't have your own ruler, you can use your handmade ruler. And I'm going to start by drawing a big rectangle. Alright, so take your pencil, take your ruler, and we're going to start with a rectangle. Alright, so what we want to do now, I'm going to make this slightly longer down at the bottom. Make sure you can see this. Okay, good. Alright, I'm going to extend my rectangle a little bit lower here and here. Now what I want to do is I want to come with down right below here and just make another horizontal line parallel to this horizontal line, maybe about an inch below where that one is. So I'll measure down an inch from there to there, okay? And from here to there, okay? Then I cross that over. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here on the top. So from this line, I'm going to come down 1 inch, make a mark. And from that line, I'm going to make a mark. Now notice that I'm using the hash mark here that indicates 10, or wherever you are. Maybe you're using yours the other way around. But remember, make sure you're using the hash mark itself. So that's from here to there. That's one standard unit of my made-up inches for this ruler. You could be using your real ruler and still the same thing. Use the hash marks. Okay, so that's about one made-up inch that I have, and I'm going to make my horizontal line that's parallel to the one at the top. Okay, great. So from here, now I'm going to start figuring out about where the halfway point is on this. I'm going to focus on this rectangle and then this rectangle down here. This I'm going to leave just undone right now. So I'm focusing on here, here, and the middle part. So that's about the middle of there. That's about the middle of there. That's the middle of there. And that's the middle of there. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to carefully draw an oval that curves into each of those parts. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here on the bottom part. Find the middle. So now I actually have my my cylinder all here. I just have to add extra things now. So like for instance, for details, the rim of the cylinder, we're going to draw here and there. So the way we do that is we're going to start right underneath this line, drawing parallel to it all the way across carefully, and then all the way up to there, right underneath the middle part. And soup cans are kind of curved right there on the end, so I'm going to curve that, slight curve there. For the inside of the can, we're going to start right here. Not there on the mark, but right here. And carefully come around, staying parallel, not touching the line above it. Next, I'm going to keep drawing another oval. This oval is kind of just the detail on the top of the can. Now this one is going to come around, come over towards that oval, that end, come back over this way, and go over that way without touching the other lines. So, kind of stays parallel to it, comes over, and then curves back this way. And then gets towards this side, but again, stays parallel to that line, the other oval, and comes down. Great. So now you got your top. Let's worry about the bottom. The bottom is going to be a little bit easier. We just draw another line up above the bottom curve. Now I can erase some lines that I don't need, starting with this one right here, the top of that oval. I'm going to erase that and that, everything inside this space right there, all that. And I can kind of clean up these corners, the corner right there. Now I need to do the top part. I'm going to erase this line that went across, so I got to carefully erase it and then redraw some lines there and erase these corners. I'm going to redraw these lines, make sure they're nice and there. Now, we've talked about value. We're going to do a little bit of that here. We're going to shade on this side. Remember, shading takes practice, discipline and practice. Now, a little trick you can use is your finger to smudge that to make it nice and smooth. We're going to come back over this something else in a little while, but I'm going to do that over here too. Start shading. And then I'm going to shade slightly right below here. And then up here, I'm going to be shading inside my can top right there. Be looking at your can. You can see where it's going to be dark, where it's going to be light. Maybe yours looks a little different. That's okay. I'm looking for more shadows on mine right now, and I see that it's kind of bright right here, but darker on the edges of that rim, and dark on that back rim. So I'm going to do that back rim first. I like to do some dark areas. That gives us contrast, and contrast makes it easier to see. When you have sharper contrast, that means things are coming into focus. When you don't have sharp contrast, that means no value or very little value differences, then it's harder to see. So the more contrast you use by finding the parts that are supposed to be dark and leaving the parts that are light, the better you'll be able to understand what you're trying to draw. And other people will be able to understand what you're trying to draw too. Andy Warhol painted, made a lot of prints for people's homes to sell, because people wanted things to decorate their places. And he was going through a movement in the art movement in the 1960s about pop art, which was just making things that were popular in people's houses. A woman, I forget her name, but she was an interior designer, and she suggested to Andy Warhol to do Campbell soup cans. And he thought it was a great idea, and they confirmed that this was true, that she told him to do that because he had a $50 check left over in his desk that somebody found that had a. He'd gone to the store and purchased every single kind of Campbell's soup that there was available. So I think it'd be fun for us to all draw on here the labels from your or not your Campbell soup, but whatever kind of soup or Chef Boyardee or any kind of canned item that you bought. Draw that label on here. And what I want to do is I want everybody to draw their own and then send it to me. Send me a picture of what you made, and I'll compile it all into one big picture so we can see what everybody's been going to the store and buying for their canned soup or canned vegetables or canned whatever. So thanks for your time, and I will see you guys later. Alright, so what I want you guys to do is something like this, and I'll show you how to do it really fast. But this is my soup can that I have here. I want you to come up with your own from your pantry. So whatever you guys have been eating out of cans lately, that's what I want you guys to show, because then we can all see what everybody's been eating, and I think that'd be really cool. So I'm going to show you how to do this one really fast, sped up, and then you for yourself do your own on your blank can that we just drew together. Okay? Now I'm going to use crayons. You can use whatever you want for yours. Just send me a JPEG version of it. If you're in my Google class, kids, I'll have a place for you guys. If you aren't in my Google class, you can email it to me at nmueller at legacypca.com. And good luck.